If you're a new parent, you know the feeling. It's like you need a superpower just to figure out what your baby wants. Well, today we're going to give you that power. We're going to decode their secret language, the one they use way before the crying ever starts. So let's just start with this one big idea. We're all programmed to jump when we hear a baby cry, right? But what if that cry isn't their opening line? What if it's the very last thing they say after they've been trying to get our attention for a while? Think of it as their final plea for help, not their first word. Exactly. The real conversation, all those little hints and quiet requests, that's all happening in the moments before things get loud. And, learning to spot these early cues, that's the game changer. It's how you go from frantically trying to calm a screaming baby to confidently meeting their needs before they even get upset. Okay, so it's time to put on your detective hat. Your baby is giving you clues all the time. Seriously, you just have to know what you're looking for. So let's start by learning the first few words in their unique little language. All right, first up, let's talk about the big one, hunger. These are the absolute earliest signals your baby will send when their tummy starts to rumble. And trust me, catching these means a much calmer, happier feeding for both of you. So it starts out really small. At first, you might just see some gentle lip smacking or licking. That's the whisper. Now, if that gets missed, they'll start rooting. That's when they turn their head from side to side, kind of looking for something. And then finally, they'll try to take matters into their own hands, literally, by bringing their tiny fist to their mouth. See? Each step gets a little bit louder. You should really think of it like this. That first little smack of the lips is your golden opportunity. It's the quiet heads up, that gentle little nudge that says, hey, I'm going to be needing that bottle pretty soon. If you can catch it right then, you are way ahead of the game. Okay, next up is a need that's just as important as food, sleep. The signs for tiredness can be a bit more mysterious, but they are clear signals that your baby's little battery, both social and physical, is starting to run low. The yawn. That's the classic sign, right? We all know that one. But what often comes next is way more subtle. They'll start staring blankly into space. They're not just fascinated by a spot on the wall, they're zoning out. It's a sign their brain is getting overloaded. And if you miss that, you might start to see jerky arm and leg movements. Now, this isn't them being playful, it's a huge sign of overstimulation. And it's so important to understand why this happens. Those jerky motions, that's basically your baby's nervous system waving a white flag. It's their body's way of shouting, I've had enough. All this light and sound is too much. Please help me shut down and get some rest. And finally, let's talk about a cue that gets misunderstood all the time, boredom. Now, this isn't about them needing a bunch of fancy toys. It's usually just a simple request for a change in stimulation. I know this one can feel a little personal, but I promise you it's not. If your baby turns their head away while you're playing, or they start avoiding your gaze, they are not rejecting you, they're communicating. You might also hear these little grunts or tiny fussy noises. They're not full-blown cries, just sounds of discontent. They're basically saying, okay, I'm kind of over this. What's next? So here's the big takeaway. You have to reframe that head turn. It's not a snub, it's a request. They are actively asking you to change the channel. Maybe they want you to turn them around so they can see out the window, or just move to a different room. It's communication, pure and simple. Okay, let's lay this all out in a simple little cheat sheet. When you see it side by side like this, you start to see how some cues could get confusing, right? Like hands to the mouth could be self-soothing when they're tired, but it's usually a hunger sign. That distant stare could be boredom, but it's much more likely they're overtired. Seeing the patterns really helps make things clearer. So right about now, you're probably thinking, okay, but what if my baby yawns right after they ate? Or what if their hands are in their mouth, but I know they're not hungry? Great questions. And that is where our master key comes in. And it's all about context. And the single most important piece of context you need is something called the wake window. It's a simple idea. It's just the amount of time a baby can comfortably be awake between naps. For a brand new newborn, that window might only be 45 to 60 minutes. For a 6-month-old, you're looking at maybe 2 to 3 hours. And this, right here, this is your secret decoder ring. The clock tells you what the cue really means. Think about it. If your baby has only been awake for 10 minutes and starts smacking their lips, that's hunger, no doubt. But if that same baby has been awake for 90 minutes and starts getting jerky, that's almost certainly tiredness. The wake window unlocks the real meaning behind the cue. And just like that, you've got the complete toolkit. You know what the individual signs are, and now you have the master key of context to figure them out.
You're ready to stop guessing and start truly understanding.
So let's just recap the mission here. It's 3 simple things. First, watch more than you listen. The quiet, visual stuff is where the real conversation is happening. Second, your goal is to spot those very first subtle signs. And third, never, ever forget that context, especially that wake window, is your ultimate key to it all.
So I'll leave you with this thought. The next time you're with your baby, just for a moment, put your phone down, quiet the room, and just watch. Now that you're a decoder, what are you going to notice? What do you think your baby will tell you first?